I'm not gay, but I am in love with my roommate.
That's a big subject. There's lots of kinds of love.
That's right. I'm sure I'm not gay, but I really love my roommate from college. He's 19 male and has been my closest friend, even though we've only been roommates for 2 years. And I genuinely think he's one of the greatest guys in the world. He's gay and recently came out to me around April. And ever since then, I've thought about him differently.
Okay.
He's such a good guy that I'm honestly surprised he's not taken yet. He's kind, loving, and he has 2 cats from his home, JJ, and I think this is Keon or Keon? Is this?
That is a Keon.
Wow.
I'm a cat.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
You're in the story.
That's a first.
Who are absolutely adorable. He's also very understanding and a bit of an overthinker. One time we had an accident in the bathroom and I was accidentally unclothed in front of him. Oh my gosh. And he kept apologizing the whole time throughout the whole day, even though I told him it was okay. So real quick, what are you kind of sensing here? What are you getting?
This one's pretty interesting. Well, number one, your generation, for example, they're a lot more open, which is great about it's not just one kind of love or 2 kinds of love. Like you guys are open to, in general, to lots of other concepts. And I do think that it's great that he's talking about it. And I do think that unlike the original soulmate term, one man and one woman forever, I think we can have different kinds of soulmates that are not necessarily all romantic, but more sort of in the same sort of earth class, so to speak, which gets a little metaphysical, but you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, is there like a friendship, like soulmate kind of thing? And like,
oh yeah. And there can be multiple friendships, multiple, even romantic soulmates. It's not, I know it's like not the most popular thing, but it's not just one necessarily. There can be like the one best experience you've had, preferential experience, but it's not necessarily one. And so, you know, like I said, it hasn't been talked about as much in previous generations, but I'm glad it's being talked about now.
We make like a new, like, sexuality every other day. Or
Yeah,
like something
I
we
know.
figure out.
I keep up with that few of my clients, you know. I'm Pan, I'm Cypress, I'm this, I'm that, you know.
We're creative.
Yeah, you're creative, which is great.
By the way, this comes from Outrageous Author 98. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
And I'm Ilene.
I'm Keon. We have a very special guest here, Dr. Ilene Krems, who is a licensed therapist based in Los Angeles who helps people break through what's blocking their happiness. She creates a safe, supportive space and uses approaches like dialectical, behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and spiritual psychology to help individuals and couples work through anxiety, depression, and relationship issues with personality disorders. Her goal is simple: help clients build self-worth, clarity, and a life that actually feels good to live. Thank you so much for being here, Ilene.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, we're super stoked and it's going to be so great. I'm like, whenever we had our talk or onboarding call, when was it? Like 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, we were chopping it up. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And by the way, we're here to give good advice goofily, but we brought a professional in. She knows what she's talking about. We don't. But if you guys have anything to add, please add it down below. And OP continues. He is just that genuine. He's also very handsome. Not like Henry Cavill or Ryan Reynolds handsome, but more like that Charlie from a Netflix show.
Charlie guy.
That makes no sense.
I look up a Charlie. Maybe it's Charlie Cox.
I don't know. Everyone's confused here. Let us know if you know who this is. His body is lean and toned, and sometimes I catch myself looking at him when he takes his shirt off and after our workouts, sometimes because he's too sweaty. He also has this stutter when he gets extremely nervous. I know I shouldn't find it cute, but I really do. And before anyone says anything, I'm sure I'm not gay since I had a girlfriend before, and we even broke up before him. I've also only been interested in him and haven't been turned on by any other guy besides him. What do you guys think?
Well, again, I mean, I do think that's where I understand that OP is doesn't believe he's gay, which obviously may be very well true.
Because he had a girlfriend before.
He did have a girlfriend before, although that doesn't rule out that he could be attracted. And this isn't my like final word on this because he's not going in that direction too much, but that he may not be have an ability to be attracted to both genders on sort of a sliding scale. Well, more women, but once in a while there's a guy. Or it could be what I was saying earlier, there's just such a depth of mental/emotional connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I once had this comes to mind, so I'll just say,
Yeah.
I had a really lovely woman in my practice who was a former Playboy model.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. She was the prettiest woman I've ever seen in person. And then I'm taking her intake like on the first visit, and I'm thinking, wow, she looks about 25. She sounds so mature. She was 37. I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
She's just like a beauty.
Yeah.
Swimsuit model, actually. And I realized, but because at least in this lifetime, I seem to be exclusively heterosexual, this time around, I noticed that, oh, this is interesting. I don't want to touch her, but I would like to be her physically.
Yeah.
I'd like to look like that. And I'm just wondering with your questioner if he feels any desire to touch, even if it's not full on sexual conduct. That would be one thing I'd want to ask.
Or do you want to touch or you just want to look?
Yeah.
What if they want to smell?
Well, yeah, that gets a little closer, but it's not necessarily, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily. But like I said, it always stuck in my mind because I was not that I was doubting, because like I said, that just isn't my journey this time around. But although some of my girlfriends say, I'd rather be, because they've had guy trouble.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just like this, and it has been with, attractive people. It's like, wow, I'd really like to look like them, but that's about it. However, there's these other elements because he feels so connected and is so appreciative of the kind personality of his roommate or old roommate. I think that would be something that would be better. It would be good if he could explore that a little with a therapist. Doesn't mean he has to go to therapy forever or anything like that. Because some people are like, oh, how much time and money is this going to cost me? And do I have health insurance? But just kind of ask these questions to himself to kind of know where he's at.
Where he's leaning towards. Yeah. So we have an update.
Okay.
I know it's been about 5 days, but here's a bit of an update on my relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of excited. So I'm sorry if this update is messy. First, I want to openly say that he is hotter than Ryan Reynolds and Henry Cavill.
Okay.
He told me we had to deal with that first and foremost. Oh, so he knows about the post.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
He probably maybe calls him out. It's like, dude, you're more attractive than so-and-so.
Oh, he's also taller than me. He's 6'2", and I'm 5'10", Asian jeans. He joked that I made him sound like an ooh cutesy boy. Do you have any idea what that means?
No.
Good. Good. You don't need to.
Yeah, that one you don't need to know.
All right.
Yeah, it's like a cringe thing our generation has made up. He didn't really mind it. It was just mostly funny. He also asked why straight, with air quotes, dudes always bring up Ryan Reynolds or Henry Cavill as the hottest guys they know. I think he said that to calm me down during my breakdown, which I'll get to in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Second, he told me I should write better because the posts look jumbled. He joked that I should probably go to therapy and check if I have ADHD, and he laughed so hard after rereading it.
Mm-hmm.
He pointed out that I talked about his cats first and then about the bathroom accident, which we both promised not to talk about anymore. He got jokingly mad about that, or maybe actually mad. Sorry, dude. Third, he corrected me by saying it's not a drag show, it's the drag show. I also was wrong about the tickets since it wasn't a concert, but a show at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did we talk about a drag show?
Yeah, I'm not quite.
No.
It's probably OP's.
Probably something inside, maybe a different message.
Yeah, it's probably
or he might have thought he told you. Yeah,
his ADHD.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I thought all drag shows were like that because the first one we went to was similar.
Mm-hmm.
Now back to the real update. Okay. After our midterms, we went to a bar last Friday and the drag show started. I was scared because he left me alone at the gay bar.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just an awkward person and don't really like being alone in public spaces, especially around strangers. And Keon, what is a vibe of a gay bar? I've never been before.
You never been?
No.
It's really fun.
I don't drink.
Oh, yeah, very fair.
I mean, I had back in the day, there were male gay bars.
Yeah.
But I loved to dance. I used to teach disco dance in my youth.
Oh, what? you look at you.
I know. It was like one of the most fun times of my life. I was 20. Those bars they're really fun. I mean, people feel like, at least my experience of them back in the day, the guys seemed like they could, straight up be themselves. I know things are more liberal now, but there's still problems in today's world, but back then it was not quite as accepted outside of the walls of it was less accepted than today. Not that it's fully accepted at all today, and it should be, but that's another topic. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. People were pretty jubilant and having fun and, having drinks, doing a little bit of poppers, all that stuff that was popular back.
Still is these days.
Oh, poppers? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Context, I am a straight male, but I have a lot of friends who love to go to the gay bars that
Yeah.
when I get to go, because I'm a straight male and everyone can tell that I like to dance too and have fun, but I'm not going to be touching or, flirting with anyone. I have good fun. I love it because I get to get my drinks first, because the bartenders are like, flirt with me or something like that. Or somebody buys me a drink and it's always like, whoa, that's different. I feel like Riley would love the vibes because it's more welcoming and more fun.
Playful.
And yeah, it's very playful.
It's like there were certain songs, not to get too far afield, but back then that gay community would co-op. Like, you're probably too young to know who Grace Jones is.
No,
or maybe not. Anyway, but she was very popular disco singer, and she had a big hit called "I Need a Man," and songs like that, or "It's Raining Men" by the Weather Girls.
Yeah.
Everyone would get up and it was just really joyful.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay, LP, so don't worry about the gay bar. It sounds like it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
I probably look like a lost puppy in there. He told me to stay in one of the front seats, and then the surprise happened. It wasn't a drag show. It was his.
Oh, wow. Okay, it was his roommate's drag show.
Yeah, the guy that he was talking to, he's in the drag show.
He's the one who's doing drag.
He's making it happen. Oh my gosh. It was so hot. He did a burlesque French thing. I'll just call it stripping. It was insanely hot, and I was turned on so badly. We should have had Angie read this one. What was I thinking? My girlfriend loves drag shows and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You'd love her.
They can be fun. Yeah.
I kept wondering when he prepared it, how much effort he put into it, and why he chose to do it during our midterms. Yeah, because during midterms, I wouldn't have time to choreograph a dance or anything like that. After that, we went home to celebrate finishing our exams. I got really wasted since I'm a lightweight. I felt butterflies in my stomach, which turned into me puking on him.
Oh, no.
Luckily, we were already back in the dorm. He cleaned it up and led me to the bathroom while I kept apologizing. I don't remember most of what happened next, so this is from his side. He told me that while I was puking and apologizing, I accidentally confessed my feelings.
Okay.
Apparently, I said something like, "I'm sorry for having feelings for you." After that, he helped me change clothes, and we slept on the same bed the whole night. He said I was dramatically begging him to sleep next to me. While I was sleeping, I kept whispering the same thing. I woke up using his chest as a pillow, and oh gosh, it was soft.
Okay.
I didn't want to move, partly because I was extremely hungover. I promised myself I would tell him everything after the show, just not when exactly. I spent the whole day overthinking and couldn't even eat with him properly. That night, I finally broke down and told him everything. Okay. I cried like a kid, even though I'm supposed to be the older one. He tried to calm me down, but his kindness only made it harder to breathe. I cried more. I couldn't put my feelings into words. So I gave him my phone and showed him the post through 2 accounts. He started crying and hugged me. He said we should give each other some space to calm down. So what he said was remember the first update?
Yeah.
He showed him that.
All right. Okay.
Is this smart, giving each other space for this?
It depends how long we're talking about. I think a few days to think about your feelings, I think is great. You don't want to go weeks or months. It's pretty delicate, especially with their strong friendship. And again, this, even though, like I said, things are out in the open more these days, even when I was back in psychology school in the 90s, there's a lot of people have heard of this Kinsey score, where it was a 0 to 7. I think I forget which way the numbers work, but one way is you're purely heterosexual. 7, you're purely homosexual. But there is a spectrum for most people, not everyone though. And so I think the OP is probably maybe somewhere on the spectrum. And it does bring up things because even though we're in, quote, modern times and we're in, well, if he's in LA, I don't know where he is. You get people
not
from,
sure.
Well, if he's in a more, accepting kind of place, it's still a hard road.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of prejudice. There's still, my best friend in LA, Angelo, is gay and I'm straight. He does not, he's like, this is who I am. And it's pretty much always been that way. And he's, just a few years younger than me. We have a deep love for each other. It's just not sexual because he's not interested in women. Now, if he was, it's another story, but,
but
he's cute. But it's okay because I'm in a phase of my life where what counts right now is like the heart connection.
Mm-hmm.
And more than anything, if I was your age, probably it would have been a little more challenging to handle that.
Yeah.
But, at this point, I've settled down a little more in my hormones. So, but it is very loving and it is very sweet. It doesn't make him doubt his sexuality. Of course, it doesn't make me doubt mine because I just was always happened to like men that way. But again, there's so many forms of connection. And so there's a lot of concerns here because the world in general is not as accepting as it could be. I mean, I get excited when I see that straight men can be cool with gay men, but I have not seen as much of that when I was your age.
Oh yeah, growing up, must have been a totally different thing.
No, it's like, no, just nothing. My brother would be, and he's strictly heterosexual, but there was like a paranoia. He's like, someone gave him a shirt for his birthday. He goes, I'm not wearing a pink shirt. It was like that kind of stuff,
Fair, yeah.
But what complicates it, I think, the most is just that because there's still these prejudicial echoes, if there weren't, I think he might, and it's not his fault that there are, have been more open to being just like, oh, maybe I'm a little on the spectrum. We'll see how this works out. I think so. Some of the fear may be that. I don't know his background, where he grew up, if there were any religious messages, which right there is a whole thing.
But you see OP kind of holding back a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's having like a crisis per se. Like, I don't like boys, but I really
like him.
I really like him, and like I'm confused. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to? I also with the fine line of if I do this, will this mess up the friendship?
That's a very good point. His friend, knowing that OP hasn't done this, he would have to understand that if they do get together, it's not a done deal that they're going to be a couple or anything like that because he hasn't had a chance to explore this if he chooses to.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder what the friendship is going to look like.
Yeah.
I did see a comment right there. Storm Kitten says, I thought I was super gay till I met my husband. Then I realized I like women and very specific men.
I think a lot of it is it's getting better, but just our human nature, I think we kind of like some black and white, like, okay, this is this is that, this is who I am, this is what I do. And we don't like being kind of in the hallways of change. And so that doesn't make it easier. Just for most of us, human nature, we want to define like.
That's why I like math growing up. English. What do you mean there can be more than one theme? What do you mean? I thought
I was the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, probably because I was just better at English than math. Like I saw a great bit on The Daily Show, if you watch that, where Ronnie Chang was joking, as a kid trying to get out of doing homework in high school. And he goes, and my parents were really strict. And I'd be, why do you want me to study algebra? I mean, this identifies as a number and a letter. Like, that's gay, I mean, we want the definitive.
OP continues, I went to the living room and I think he reread the post. I panicked because he looked anxious and quiet. So I ran to the bathroom to calm myself. I calmed down and we talked again. I told him I loved every part of him. When both he and my best friend came out to me, it made me question my spicy proclivity. I started developing feelings for him and loving every single detail about him. I thought I might be gay or bi, but I've only ever dated and hooked up with women. I even tried watching gay porn, but it did absolutely nothing for me.
Interesting.
That made me realize I'm not into men in general. I'm into him specifically. Going back to the touch test. I also came from a traditional family. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly a closet guard, but not very open-minded either. I told him that I was scared of making him take a risk on me, on someone who might still be confused and hurt him in the end. He hugged me again and started addressing things. He said he didn't blame me for what happened at the frat house. I wasn't the one to beat up our friend. I wasn't the one who crossed boundaries, and I wasn't the one who sent him to the hospital. Okay, what are we talking about
again? Back to OP's writing is just very ADHD.
Yeah.
A fight happened?
I'm lost on that. So that's where I would have to be. If he was like a client of mine, I would, be like, okay, wait a minute. Let me get this straight.
What fight?
What fight? Yeah.
He was grateful that I defended him and could help. However, this is just my assumption. He probably defended his friend because one other guy was like, oh, you're gay.
Yeah.
Then came the hard part. He said he likes me, but he's scared because this has happened to him before. A straight guy fell for him, led him on for 5 months, then left. He understands being confused about your spicy proclivity, but he doesn't want to get seriously hurt again. He agreed that I needed to understand myself first. He rejected me, but he also gave me an ultimatum. We're not officially together. We are in a trial period. See, this is just us getting creative again.
Yeah.
We can go on dates, have spicy sleep, and be monogamous, but we are not labeling it yet. He's going home for Thanksgiving, and during that time, I'm supposed to learn more about myself. After a month, we'll see if we're both ready. How do you feel about this plan?
I think it's a way for him and I guess his friend to safely as possible. I mean, people do get hurt. Try it out, see what happens. I think it's better that he tries but doesn't try. And the therapist in me is wanting to say, hey, maybe you should do a little counseling during this confusing period. I mean, I know all therapists say it, but it's because we believe in it. It's not just, well, we want to get business,
Because I'm seeing his emotions feel this way. Things happen there.
It doesn't sound probably like his family support would be there on the little bit of a picture that he painted.
Only emotional support is someone he's having this confusing relationship with.
Exactly. So that's why, when detractors of therapy say like, oh, I can just talk to my friends, like it is different. Like, number one, therapists are trained. It's a lot of study. We're only invested in their well-being. So there's no, oh, well, I'd like to be friends with them. So I'll agree with this, even though, it's pure. Yeah. I mean, with any decent therapist, which are most therapists, it's pure and it's educated. I don't know if I know like finances get in the way and other things, but if he has any way to do it, it would be a great thing.
Get all those emotional ducks in a row here.
Yeah.
What do you think about this, Keon? You like this little test here?
Like I said, it's good that it's such a conflict for OP to really, what do I want kind of thing. It obviously seems like he wants him, but it's also what will happen if things go south. Will that friendship be normal again? Am I bi? Am I still going to be attracted to him? What's going to happen? There's a lot of what ifs, but I mean, I always say, that's relationships, that's love. It's a leap of faith. You got to try before. Yeah. If you don't try, then it's going to be just tearing him up inside.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kimberly Fawn says, this dude has already converted more men than any Latter-day
Saints missionary.
Yeah. Another comment, if you want to scroll up just a touch. OP's attracted to this guy and only this guy. Thinking face emoji. OP on a test trial. Yeah. Since then, things have changed a lot. He's very touchy when we're alone. He gave me a footsie during...
a merienda or
what
footsie?
Is that?
Okay, you don't know what footsie is?
I know what a footsie is. We do that all the time.
Eileen, do you know what footsie is?
I'm not sure.
I think it hasn't changed, but it's still just playing with your feet.
Oh, okay.
But flirting with how you hold hands and flirting with your hands. It's just with your feet. Merienda is like a snack. It's like a break time.
Okay.
I don't know. This seems very playful, very casual in my sense.
And sometimes, in terms of the OP's friend doesn't want to be hurt, but sometimes that does happen as somebody is not quite sure where they're at and exploring their own sexuality. And since OP's friend knows that is helpful. I mean, easier said than done, but if he can hold it in his mind that he's being honest with me, he doesn't know if I feel I'm emotionally able to take this risk myself, because what if I start to fall in love? Yeah. Then I'd be willing to maybe risk that chance, especially because we are so connected. But not everyone is prepared to take that kind of chance if they feel their own heart's going to break, and he's got to look out for that too. Vulnerable. But that's the responsibility of the OP's friend, as long as the OP is honest up front.
That's a good point.
Merienda is like a little snack.
Where did they say that?
It's like going to lunch or like brunch.
We got a new meal of the day here. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes me mad. Why am I now just learning about merienda? That's interesting. Okay.
Riley, you do merienda every day. You just don't know it.
I don't know what that word means either.
It's just like snack time.
Oh, like just food snack time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing implicit like that. It's just like a snack time. Yeah.
I was like,
snack time. He whispers dirty things to me and calls me boy in a way that absolutely messes me up. He also does that Cabadon thing.
It's when you boy, why do I know these things?
Yeah, explain.
It's when you pin someone against the wall playfully.
Okay.
I don't know as much slang as I thought I did.
Yeah, me neither. We're learning things together here.
Yeah. Okay.
Me too.
You know these things. You're
You
teaching
seem
us.
to know. Yeah.
Is there something you want to tell us, Keon?
I know people.
Okay. All right. I did the Cabadon thing, and I hate tall people for that reason. Still respectful, but dang, he really knows what he's doing. We hooked up to see if I'd actually like it, and I loved it. Afterwards, we ate dinner outside, and he wasn't touchy at all in public. He respects that I just came out and doesn't want to show affection publicly yet. He even wants to take me on a train museum because he knows I love them. And we're planning to go to an amusement park together. Even if we're not official yet, I'm really happy about this.
Okay.
Tomorrow, he's forcing me to watch all of Heartstopper season 1 and every gay series out there.
Heated Rivalry. Shout out that show.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah, that's the really hot one right now.
Seems to be I want to see it.
I've heard things.
Yeah.
While I made him to agree to watch Marvel movies with me on other days. As for my spicy preference, I still want a label, but I don't think it matters right now. I just want to make sure my feelings are real and that I'm sure of myself. He's not pressuring me. He just wants me to figure things out. By the way, you can listen to more spicy stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime and iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think I repeated myself.
That's okay.
We have an update 2 months later here in a second.
Wow. Okay.
How do you feel about this? This feels pretty healthy, I would say.
I would say so. I think for the most part, they're handling it to the best of their ability in a fairly healthy way, depending on the amount of uncertainty they can both tolerate, especially I'm thinking OP.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the therapist go-to of, maybe you should talk to somebody. But other than that, which he may not feel the need to do, I think they are handling it well. The more the story unfolds, the more I feel like he's somewhere on that spectrum. You know, probably.
Do you have any concerns that are sticking out or like red flags or something? You're like, that might not work.
My only concern that's coming to mind is something I mentioned earlier is that because this is not something that is still 100% accepted in society, it might be holding him back.
Okay, yeah.
Which is just something that unfortunately does happen, but he's open enough because he really cares about this person to explore. Yeah. And what did you say originally? He was like 19?
I could check.
Yeah, young. I mean, he was doing school, so.
In college.
So, of course, he wants to know. We all, we want those labels, but at an age where he could have a very long time to figure this out. And he may, they used to joke back in the day that, bisexuals, they're lying if they say they're bisexual, they're gay. But that's not true. There are people that are bisexual, and he may be one of those, depending how it went with his ex-girlfriend or so forth.
It's the good old, I like vanilla more than chocolate, or I like chocolate more than vanilla. And people are just like, I like both.
And then it gives you the choices. So it's like.
So here's the update. We're engaged? Oh, just kidding. Dude, they do this all the time. They're like,
oh my
God.
We're very, Okay.
Okay. We're officially dating.
Nice.
Dating him, even low-key, has been so much fun. I told my closest friends, and it turns out they already knew.
Yeah, that makes sense. You guys are always touchy, hand-holding, kissing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are dating.
I think the most gay thing they've done here is going to, what was that Miranda thing?
No, the merienda is just snack time.
Merienda. That's it. That's it for
Merienda
me.
Time is not gay time. It's just snacks. It's like coffee.
If someone said they're doing that, I'm like, come on. We know what you like.
It's Spanish.
It is? Well,
okay.
Now I don't know. I just feel like, anyways.
I think you're reading really into the merienda time. Like, you do it every day. You just don't know it.
This Christmas, he brought me home to his family because I couldn't go to mine.
Yeah.
He introduced me to his parents and siblings, and they were incredibly loving and welcoming.
Wow.
His mom was especially excited and caring. His dad warned me not to hurt him.
Okay.
His siblings were fun to hang out with, and the whole experience made me feel like I gained a second family.
Oh.
We're still together no matter what happens. I'm genuinely happy. I tried the other way too, which hurt a lot, but it was still fun doing everything with him. I just hope this relationship never ends. Thanks for so much of all the support from me and my roommate. Oh,
Should change it to me and my boyfriend roommate.
your boyfriend. Okay, so it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sounds like it did.
It was the leap of faith.
He did the leap of faith. He listened to his own heart, which is amazing. And like I say, not always, well, usually, often not very easy to do.
It's a very courageous thing.
It's like, yeah, it is.
We have some Q&As for you right now.
Okay.
Riley Miranda is just a Spanish Tagalog.
Say Tagalog again? Tagalog.
Is that the Filipino language? Yeah.
I'm Filipino, so.
Oh, so you would not have had a few Filipino clients. Yeah.
Do they bring you like any food?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't they the best people?
They are the best. They are the best.
Working with Keon and meeting other Filipinos. And then I just started seeing the correlation of like, they're all just having a good time.
I know. One of my clients, my Filipino clients, she said something once we were discussing cultures. It's like, yeah, the Asian community thinks we're the Latin Americans of the Asian culture, like the more fun, the more liberal.
Yeah, we like to party. Like we sing karaoke every day.
Yeah.
I always say this: we're like the Italian Mexican of like Southeast Asia, because we just have huge families.
Yeah.
We love to eat, and like huge, like if you're full, you're still eating, and we just love to party, and play crazy games. That's us.
And there's a lot of joy for life. I found like one of my clients. I mean, she had some, and she's one of the. This doesn't happen that often, but we worked together for quite a while. And now, like years down the road, after she worked out her problems, which were relationship oriented and personality disorder oriented. I mean, she lives like an hour and a half away, but once in a while she'll be in my part of town and she'll drop by and she'll bake me something.
Oh my goodness.
And she's just got this very playful spirit that I love.
Riley sees that every day.
Oh, yeah.
He's running around just like, he's always up to something too.
Yeah, that's great.
So we have a question from a fan.
Sure.
This is an anonymous sender. I, 20s, have recently come to the conclusion that I'm depressed and might have been for months. I've struggled with depression for decades and had all the signs for months. Kept waking up at night, strong feelings of guilt and sadness, lack of joy in previously happy activities, brain fog, memory issues, feeling isolated even with strong relationships, pushing people away intentionally, etc. But I either ignored them or just didn't want to piece it together. I don't have access to therapy or even a PCP. How do I overcome this? I want to become me again. How can I do that when I didn't even realize how bad it was getting for months? P.S. I'm autistic, so processing stuff is difficult. Whew, that's a lot there.
Did we get information? Not just so I have it, my gender, age, or no? I mean, I don't have to, but I was just wondering.
20s, I'm going to assume female.
Okay.
Just because that's who usually watches our stuff. But I'm going to say like 20s female.
Yeah, no, this is important. I mean, it breaks my heart. There are different kinds of therapists. Some of us are open books and some of us are like kind of old school Freudian, like, barely look at me. It's all about you. I'm in the open book part because I just feel it's better to work more collaboratively and as equals and not pretend, well, I'm here and you're there.
Yeah, I'm the weird power complex.
Yeah, I just don't like that at all. But with that, the reason I said that is while a therapist cannot have experienced everything a client has experienced, obviously, I find that, well, I'm kind of spiritual. So I think like through the universe or whatever, I have found through decades now that I normally draw clients to me where in areas where I've had experience.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. I had depression, major depressive episodes. They call them like 5 or more symptoms of this 9 symptom list, which it sounds like, I'll say she because we don't know. Is that okay? Or the OP.
Yeah, you can say OP, she. Yeah.
While not every therapist has to have this to treat it effectively, when you've been there, you kind of know it on a deeper level, and it is heartbreakingly painful.
When did you have those episodes?
My first episode was between the ages of 26 and 29 when I'd gone to medical school to please my family, my mother, basically. And in the middle of my I was a podiatrist. In the middle of my surgical internship, I realized that, like, what did I do? It's not really what I want. This is what she wanted. It's not fulfilling to me. The only things I mean, it's nice to help people, but the only part of the profession that ever seemed great was making people feel a little more comfortable and good pay. But that wasn't enough, for me. And I just started to descend into, meeting 5 plus more of the criteria. I just didn't feel like myself, couldn't enjoy life. It was awful. Had a few physical symptoms, trouble sleeping.
Oh, wow.
The only thing I joke about is I lost my appetite, and if I could just keep that. But other than that, it was awful. And then I guess with the energy of youth, and I met my husband at the time when I was like 29, and I think I just kind of came out of it because there was some counterbalancing joy.
Yeah.
We were together for like 7 years, but we weren't really compatible. And I realized finally it was time to go our separate ways. And even though the one that I made the call, I got depressed again.
Yeah.
And I felt really mired in it this time for like 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
And it was awful. I mean, I was able to function, but there wasn't, like go to work. But
you're just like on autopilot.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's just awful. And I sought out a therapist who was smart and well-meaning, but I don't think she did. Well, okay, people respond to different things. That's a whole nother conversation. There's different types of therapy, and there's not many official right and wrongs as to which therapy someone gives you. There's an old mantra that says it's the relationship that heals, and that is a big part of it. But still, for anxiety and depression, there have been studies that show that cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and I'll put spiritual psychology in that group because cognitive therapy actually sprang from Buddhist principles. They just don't talk about that much. And I had someone that was just having me explore, which they call more psychodynamic, my childhood, et cetera, et cetera. But there was only so many times I can say I resent my mom because she was narcissistic. I mean, after a while, like, it's good to know, but it's not, for this problem, it wasn't doing too much. And finally, I'm not a quitter easily, but I should be sometimes. So I left and I went to another therapist who was more psycho-spiritually minded, and I was feeling a lot better within 6 months.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a huge shift.
Real quick, what are the top of the line types of therapy? I know that you just said
psychodynamic, which is more about how your past influences contribute to your current circumstances and who you're attracted. For instance, I've had my share of relationships with men because I was used to, I hate to say it this way, but taking it from a narcissistic person, like, because I had to grow up with one and survive.
Gotcha.
So
that's kind of maybe how you've learned to attach yourself.
Absolutely. And taken a lot of therapy to shake that one loose.
Ooh.
Cognitive behavioral therapy was actually, it's funny because I'm from Philly, and it was developed in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
At the University of Pennsylvania by a doctor named Aaron Beck, who was a professor. And he went with the model that our feelings come from our thinking and not the other way around. And that can be a good thing because let's say you're sitting here and you're having a bad day. If I say, Riley, just be happy, you can't control your emotions like that, just like that.
Yeah.
But if I say, Riley, we're going to do an exercise. First, I want you to think of the Eiffel Tower. That's a thought process. You can do that. So because the emotions come from an aspect of our thinking, if we can learn a few techniques, and they can be, they write whole books about them, but they can be boiled down pretty quickly, actually, to be mindful of what you're thinking. Ask, is it true? Psycho-spiritual teacher named Byron Katie, who made a whole career out of that. And rightly so, because it's really valuable to ask that. And other techniques. That's cognitive therapy. Now, dialectical came a little bit later, and that's sort of like a combination of cognitive therapy plus some Zen Buddhism principles to just be with, with it, but still trying to manage your own emotional life the best that, to make yourself a happier person.
Yeah.
And then there's the full-on sort of spiritual psychology, which is, many of and they gave it a name, transpersonal, to make it a little more fancy, I guess. But spiritual psychology is like, we all have two aspects of our mind. And, like in cartoons, there's a little angel on your shoulder, and a devil on your shoulder. We have a negative mind, which is the human consciousness, what they depending who you're reading, lots of synonyms for these things. Egoic consciousness, the ego, not a good, like he has a strong ego, but like the bad ego that's insatiable, that always wants more, that doesn't care what anyone else has as long as you have yours, and so forth. And then there's the other part, which is our awakened consciousness, higher self, the part of us that connects more to universal energy. This does not have to do with religion.
Gotcha.
I mean, someone can be religious, that's fine, but you can be, I mean, I don't go to churches or synagogues, but I deeply feel this is how I'm sort of operating in life like everyone else, these two sides of the mind.
Yeah.
And so if you practice, you can learn to kind of like look over your own shoulder. The Buddhists call it being the observer or the witness. Your feelings are like your guidance system. It's like a radar. Like, so if I'm find myself in a really bad mood, for example, as soon as I can remember, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like I try to step outside it and go like, what am I telling myself that's causing me to feel that way? And once I know what I'm telling myself, quickest way to go through, first of all, is it true? Because a lot of the things that devastate us aren't even true, but if we believe it, they'll hurt just as badly. And that's a big one, you know, and maybe it is true, but then I have to work from there to work with myself as best as possible.
I knew that there were like kind of different types of therapy, but I didn't know how deep.
They go very deeply. And here's the thing is that different therapists choose off in a different direction. Like my good friend down the road, she's more psychodynamically oriented. That works well in her hands and she has her successes. And then I'm more cognitively and spiritually oriented and that works well with me. Do we debate about which one? We each kind of secretly are like, well, I think mine's better than yours. But, no use arguing.
Smug about it a little bit.
Yeah, like a little smugness. Yeah, it can happen on both sides, for sure. And then there's eclectic, which is like a lot of therapists these days are just like, hey, I use whatever works. So can you blend to some of these things? Absolutely. I can be working with someone cognitively over a difficult relationship with a soon-to-be ex if he has highly traits, etc. We'll still at some point probably touch on. So let's, let me get an understanding where you came from. And have you been experiencing this behavior before? And one other thing that was a surprise, at least to me, was that, because I don't remember that being mentioned in my training, is like we always are like, it's the mom or the dad, the mom or the dad. But sometimes it's a sibling that can deeply affect us in a negative way if they have a personality disorder that they direct in a negative way towards us.
Interesting.
So it can be an older brother, even older sister. It can be so there's lots of influences. However, my focus is it's great to know where it came from. It's interesting. However, these days, people don't have time, money, energy like they did in Freud's days to sit down and lie on a couch for 5 hours, free associate.
Yeah.
And tell you about their latest dreams. They've got an hour a week if they're lucky. And I want to get to the tools.
They used to do 5 hours?
Yeah. When Freud started out, he like his first, as I've read, his first clients were like, well, the women were coming because they're like the weaker sex. It was 18 something, right? And these men would send their wives who they felt were having the problem, which is another thing, it was not exactly gender equality back then. And it would be the wealthy class. And so these women who also did not work for a living would come in and lie for hours on a couch and free associate. I mean, he had to start somewhere. I mean, he did invent all this as far as we know. It's essentially, there were precepts, like I said, Buddhism, but in terms of modern psychology. And he had to start somewhere and those things would happen. Now, then the number 2 in psychology, Carl Jung came along, who was Freud's disciple, and he was also a brilliant man. He had a mom who was like a full-on psychic mystic person.
Oh my gosh.
So he grew up with the mystical. And so he was much more open to what are the forces behind that, like archetypes and spiritual. If that's what actually the two were like inseparable until they were driven apart by the fact that Freud was born and raised Jewish, but he was an atheist and he had no room for anything remotely spiritual. Jung was born Catholic and was deeply into the spirit realm because of his mom, most likely. And so they had a falling out, went their separate ways. And then, unfortunately, when the Nazis came along, Freud had to flee to England, so they didn't kill him because he was Jewish. And then the playground was all Jung's. I mean, they were both brilliant and they both made their contributions, but then Jung was king of the castle.
Wow.
That's a little historical reference.
Yeah. We got it all there.
Yeah.
Would you have another question for you?
Sure.
This is from Crochet Kitty. She says, I'm not enthusiastic about any career avenue because I don't want one. I want to be a mom.
Okay.
I know I've made a post about baby fever before, but it has been newly and painfully renewed after getting to be with my best friend while she gave birth to her second child. I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling extremely bitter. I also look at my grandparents and my husband's parents and see what I wish my life could have been. My mother's parents had 3 kids, with only my grandfather having a serious job for the longest time. My grandmother eventually got a part-time job because she wanted out of the house, not because they needed money. My father's parents were kind of the opposite. My grandmother got herself a decent job that she worked up the ladder through overtime, while my grandpa had inconsistent and unreliable jobs. They had 2 kids who were involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. My husband's parents were like my mom's, where his father had a decent job, has a better job now, and his mother was at home with the kids. She's still at home even though both of their children are grown because they have enough money for her and they do not have to have a job. So why does it seem so effing impossible for us to do that? All I want to do is have children and raise them myself. Is that really too much to ask for? What the F? I'm so frustrated right now. Because like honestly, the thought having a home, having children right now for me and people my age feels impossible. Feels like that's going to take, oh my gosh, I got to start saving like $750 yesterday in order for that to happen.
Right.
So I could see kind of the impossibility there, but is it possible to just be a stay-at-home mom and to raise?
It's definitely possible if the income allows. And that's, things get, such a drag basically because, I mean, I do know people who've done that. She sounds like she has a real passion for wanting to do that. And there's just nothing wrong with that. It's just that, now, is she currently married? I'm trying to follow the
She's
thread.
not.
So she's working, I assume, currently because she probably has to.
But she doesn't want to pursue a career, go to school to be like a nurse or like an accountant or anything like that. She just wants to be a mom. Depending what level of income she's satisfied with. I don't know if she has any outside people helping like parents or not, but let's assume not. She's going to obviously be focused on meeting people, probably online because so many do. There can be other ways, but that seems to be the most like quote efficient these days in terms of her career. There's tons of exceptions, but a lot of times with a degree or school, you often make more money unless you have a special gift or, special creativity. Yeah. But that may not be the most important to her. She may be okay with like just, getting along. If that's who she is, then I don't know that currently there's she's how old? 20? I think she's like in her 20s or like about to start going to school or something. Yeah.
She may want to devote more of her time and energy to meeting a partner. It just doesn't sound as important to her to have a career at this moment. I mean, can people do both? Oh, sure. Yeah, they can. But it doesn't sound like what she wants.
Sorry, she does have a husband.
So she has a husband. Is she saying like the husband wants her to have a job?
I don't know. That is something they need to talk about.
Because that comes up a lot because depending, if the guy happens to be a wealthy guy or just doesn't care about money, he may be fine with that. But if he's like, does he want children also? Hopefully, because that's what she wants. I get the feeling maybe he just wants her to do more career-wise with her life. This is a hunch. And then if she gets pregnant, she gets pregnant, assuming, if he doesn't want children, she shouldn't be in that marriage. Yeah. But he may want her to, pursue more career because the money is important to him. Or it's like, hey, you can do both, which can people? Yeah, they can. So it might be an interpersonal thing. I understand envy and bitterness and such, but are they doing everything they can to have a baby and it just hasn't been happening? Because that's a whole nother realm, which, they're young, or at least she's young, but, medical testing, stuff like that. If they did not do it, So there's a lot of factors here. Is there anything wrong with her wanting what she wants? No, but it's seems like it's going to be, I get a feeling it's going to involve compromise with the husband.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like people my age, it's get a career, go do this, work.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Because one day I would like to move back to, I'm from North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that best friend of mine is too. The one I told you, Angelo. He's from Charlotte. Yeah.
Charlotte?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I live like an hour and a half north of Charlotte.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. So I very familiar, but I'd like to move back to quiet place, land, yard.
Yeah.
Dogs running around, all that stuff. Have a garden. Like, I just don't know what that looks like. Because, like, I'm doing this in LA. I don't know if I can do this and be there. It's like, it's kind of.
I don't know. I mean, this is a remote job, though, for the most part, except for in-studio guests, which I guess you could do by Zoom.
I could, yeah, but it's.
The other people are here. Your friends are
and
here.
everyone.
Can you imagine doing that?
Would you want to go live in Tennessee to do this full time, Keon? Would you like that?
No, I'm an LA boy.
See, he's not. I can't take him with me.
No, I mean, well, I don't have the expertise to know if you could do that part long distance. I get it. But what you're saying is if someone, and this is not this questioner, but it wants a career and also wants family, that also kind of looks different for men than for women, obviously, because of the biological clock. And I have had several of my clients that want both because, even for the financial security for themselves, because not all marriages last forever.
Yeah.
Or they want to have both, and why shouldn't they? So I have had a few women in my practice now that, they freeze their eggs and I think it's a little bit costly, but they find a way and they want to know, like I had a client of mine a while back, she was an attorney. She was like 33 and she was engaged to somebody and she really wanted kids, but it was such an up and down engagement. It didn't feel secure.
Yeah.
That breakup. And finally, and she was making good money. So she had means. She said, well, I know I want a child. I'm freezing these eggs. And she's doing it while she's young enough to most likely have some good eggs to freeze. And that's another whole interesting topic because I've seen several couples that are like, quote, older couples where and a lot of times the man is older than the woman, but she has a baby at 42 because she has the eggs to do it.
Yeah.
And her partner's maybe 48, 49. And it's really interesting because they used to talk about this as a dilemma when I was doing my training back in the day, is that a lot of therapists feel like ideally, on terms of the intellectual maturity, it'd be great to start having your kids at 40 when you have more emotional stability. I know.
Oh my
life
gosh.
experience. However, the problem is, besides biological clocks and so forth that the women have to deal with, every couple that's had them later that I've seen has said, I love my kid, but they feel like their physical energy really flags. And maybe that wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, I want to be able to play basketball with my kid.
Right.
Whatever I get into, I can keep up with them. But we do have another story.
All right.
If you're ready.
Yes.
Yep. My husband isolated me and still played the victim when I finally escaped. Trigger warning: emotional mistreatment. When I was a teenager, I married my high school sweetheart. He was joining the military and had convinced me that if we didn't get married, I would never see him again.
Oh, man.
By the way, this comes from Angsty Talkover. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. OP continues. The red flags started when he told me he didn't like my friends.
Ooh.
A and B. I guess Angie and Brittany. We fought about them often, but they had been my best girlfriends since junior high, and I didn't want to totally give them up. I'm just worried about who they hang out with. I'm worried about your safety. They're not good friends. They don't want us to be together, he said.
Yeah.
We moved several states away from our hometown, and then things got progressively worse.
Right.
I had my belly button pierced, wanting to surprise him, thinking it was spicy. Why did you do that? You didn't ask me. You changed your body without talking to me first.
Okay.
I got confused and upset, saying it was a surprise for him since he had said they were attractive. Then he said, "It's okay, hon. I forgive you. You just need to ask me first." I felt ashamed that I didn't realize that. I needed to talk to him first. What a bad wife I was already being, had I thought. Yikes, that is a pretty big red flag right there.
It's a huge red flag because so much of what I work with is men or women, because it goes both ways, that are leaving narcissistic partner, but the level of control already has me being like, okay, wait till it's your turn. Oh my God, it's a lot and unhealthy. And unfortunately, it is a classic thing, as I mentioned earlier, to have, if I'm going to assume he's narcissistic for the sake of
let's just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he is, or even if he's not, quote, adjacent, it is a play to isolate you from your friends, because then you are less likely to leave, because it's very hard for people to leave without support. Some people stay because they feel no choice, and, not even bringing like children into it, but even pets. It's like they need support. They want their friends. They want their pets. They want their kids, You
need to be reliant on me solely.
Yeah. And that is just deadly.
My girlfriend likes to change her appearance sometimes. I remember when she got her nose pierced.
Yeah.
That was tough for me. She warned me. Thank goodness she warned me. She's like, hey, I'm going to get my nose pierced. I want you to know that. And I'm like, okay, I'm prepared. The nose thing was great. She shaved her eyebrows out once. That was tough for me, but I got around to it. And I was like, okay, great. And then by the time she dyed her hair red, I was like, whatever, girl.
Yeah.
You got it.
Absolutely.
You got it. Yeah. But it took a little bit for me to get used to, but now I'm like, I love you so much.
Oh.
The first time he showed his true temper was when I folded the towels wrong. I mixed in the blue towels with the white towels. He wanted them separate. I'm trying so dang hard to give you nice things, and you can't see that, he yelled, standing by the doorway before storming off. This looks terrible. You can't mix them, I cried, but brushed it off as he stressed from work. He told me he didn't want to go to college in town like we had discussed before we got married. I might get transferred. You can't go to school. You need to be with me, he said. And I agreed. So I worked and saved money for school whenever that would be. He was happy I had made friends, but then he would become angry when I would go out to have girl time. I just effing miss you, okay? I worked so hard for you, and I want to see you when I get home. He would yell at me, so I skipped seeing friends to avoid fights. I wanted to fly home to visit my parents for a few days. We were driving down the highway, and I brought this up, and he started screaming at me. Don't you think I don't want to see my family too? And you're leaving me here? His face was beet red, and he had pulled into an empty parking lot to yell at me more. This time, I was so scared, I didn't say anything and just secretly cried. We went to the beach with friends. When we left, he told me I was too quiet today and how dare I embarrass him in front of everyone. Dan asked me why you were so quiet. Ask what's wrong with you. He screamed at me while we were driving home. I cried. We pulled over in an ice cream shop and got me my favorite ice cream cone. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. I just don't want you to be moody around our friends. It's embarrassing. I hadn't realized I was being quiet. I'll have to try harder next time, I thought. Heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. So she's in this situation now. And she's writing to, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah. Well, we're getting more, but right now, this is so far what's happening in the relationship.
Oh my gosh.
He would pick fights with me about the dishes or putting the groceries away wrong, and I eventually didn't have the strength to fight back. I would try to hide in the bathroom, hoping he'd calm down, but he would follow me and pound on the door, threatening to break it down. The housing people will be pissed if I break this door down. You better open it before that happens. He convinced me to let go of my access to our bank account and let him handle everything. Oh no, this might be like last worst thing to happen.
It is.
It's stressing you out. Just let me handle it, he said. From then on, how I needed his login and password to sign in, which he kept changing, making me come to him with questions about our finances. It was so confusing because he would shower me with affection and grand gestures, making me believe we were soulmates. But then he would yell at me for doing something wrong. I never spoke to anyone about it. I was afraid they wouldn't believe me. I didn't fully know how to explain it because he was so charming and everyone loved him. I wasn't being a good wife. I must be doing something wrong, I would think. I didn't know this behavior wasn't normal. I thought I was a bad wife and started to become massively depressed without fully understanding. And the tipping point. So we're getting to the tipping point. Yeah, this is, you would say he's a narcissist, right?
Yeah. I mean, because he's like, I haven't met him in person. I couldn't do that in a court of law, but I would bet my mortgage that he's, it's a very, like I said, it's amazing how the playbook is the same.
Yeah.
And she's hitting so many flags. It is, I would be shocked if he wasn't.
I remember whenever we talked about a situation, he wants everyone to look at him and be like, oh, you look so great. You look so great. And he doesn't want to mess that up. He wants the outside look to look pure and just right.
Absolutely. Their image is really, really important to them. He doesn't seem to really care about her feelings at all. The isolation, the screaming alone, like healthy partnerships, people don't scream at each other like that. Or if they have a hot temper, they learn to control it and learn some, couples
Mediating
counseling.
practices.
Yeah, there are ways, but it sounds like it's a regular thing with him. And then the control with the bank account. I mean, it just goes on and on. Isolation from friends. This is unfortunately, it's very textbook.
A lot of people in the chat too are saying, I've seen some comments of one, obviously sick behavior, but also OCD with, the towels being, and then the groceries being put away in a certain order and all that.
Absolutely. I had one of my clients that I'm still working with. She originally came to me with a partnership that was like this. And he, usually don't stick around therapy and they only come if they're dragged in. And he stuck around for 4 or 5 visits and then he left because he was sensing I was not like, yeah, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And she has gone through a long, they share a young child, which makes it so much harder, but a long breakup and she's getting to the other side. But he also had this OCD. He was always telling her, you don't scrub the kitchen right. He was like obsessive about that. They both worked, but she made more money than he did. He didn't allow her to bring in cleaning help. And she's like a VP for Microsoft. I mean, this is not a woman that should be spent, in my opinion, spending her. She can do better at Microsoft and bring in help. He won't allow it. That's really nonsense.
How do you, Dr. Ilene, especially with, you probably have had these cases when you get clients and they come in with the attitude of just not accepting it. How do you go about that?
Not accepting that.
Like they don't want to hear, like when you said like her husband or ex-husband, could tell that you're not really siding with him, or you can you can tell it's like, this is not the results that we're getting, this is not fixing anything. How does that, for someone like you as a professional, how do you go about that? Or, if they won't hear the truth or, they don't want to believe, they don't believe you in that sense, or they think you're wrong. How do you go about that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. There's not like wonderful ways to go about it. I mean, I do what I can. And of course, you try to stay professional and everything, even though it's very glaring what's going on, although you don't eventually deny that, because it's funny, what almost always happens is the narcissistic partner who's been dragged in won't come back after. And then the other partner who is trying to like find their way out of this will become my steady individual. That happens. Oh, and it's I mean, it should be that way in a way. Happens over and over. Like, tonight I have a couple I'm seeing and neither of them have a personality disorder. They're healthy people. They just, especially him, interestingly, believes in like, I want to make sure we're communicating right.
Yeah.
He's a little more touchy-feely. She's a little more businessy. They're great people. They have 2 young kids that are doing great. And I look forward to seeing them because it's not your typical couple that comes in and we talk and, they just want tips. But if someone is personality disordered with a more like a malevolent personality, especially like narcissism or any social personality disorder, we're hearing a lot about malignant narcissism these days in the political arena, etc. That person won't. They just tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and they walk out.
Wow.
It's like, well, I think I know more about this than you do, and they have nothing remotely to do with the therapy field. Another hallmark, they will not allow someone to know more than them.
That's crazy.
So OP says, the tipping point was when he was screaming about me wanting to go out with my friends. I was pressed into the couch, holding back tears, and I got up to walk away to lock myself in the bedroom. But he stepped in front of me and pushed me back into the living room. I left the house. I went for a walk. When I came back, he apologized, saying, I just love you so much. You need to spend your time with me. I pushed to go back to college and demanding that he let me sign up. That's when he admitted that he had spent the $15,000 I had saved up on working at a crap fast food job before we got married. You can't go. There's no money. I swear I'll earn it back. He lied to me for years about how much was in savings, making me think I had even more than we had before we had gotten married.
That's horrific.
Oh my gosh.
And besides the money being horrific, the blocking her, like that's kind of can be, not, the first stage of getting to a more physically violent presence usually starts with that. Doesn't mean he will be or has been, but it's incredibly unhealthy and scary, really.
Yeah.
And I I don't know if there's more to the story, but in my mind, I'm going, she needs to leave yesterday if she possibly can.
We fought a lot. I suggested we go to counseling. He fell asleep during a session. He never really listened to what I was saying and would tell me my feelings were wrong and why he was right after we would leave the counselor's office. Over time, if I did something wrong, he would yell at me about how his family thinks we should just divorce since I was being so difficult. Such a bad wife, but he loved me too much to not do that. I stayed with him for 3 years before I got the nerve to leave him, and at that point, I was absolutely terrified of him. He got an assignment overseas, not deployed, just an assignment, and I took the opportunity to leave him. I felt like a terrible person for leaving him while he was away, like a complete coward, but I was so scared he wouldn't let me leave and was scared he would make it physical. My new friends didn't believe me when I tried to explain what had been happening. He was so funny and sweet after all, and he spread rumors that I was pardoning and cheating on him, and that destroyed all of my relationships with my friends and acquaintances. He got his friends to spread rumors about me so much that at one point I had a total stranger ask me at my work if I was that witch at my base job that was screwing around on her husband. And he even managed to tarnish my reputation in our very small hometown, cutting some already small ties. He refused to let me sign the divorce papers, keeping me trapped in limbo for almost an entire year, pulling power grabs and making false promises. But once it was finalized, I was so effing relieved. I didn't care that I was basically alone and I had almost no one. Not even my family fully believed me. Him? No, he's so nice. Maybe you could have tried harder. I don't believe he would yell at you for stuff like that. By the way, if you want to listen to more stories just like this, go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. If you're still reading after this long post, I just want to say, please don't repeat any of my mistakes. If you feel like something is off, do not brush it aside or continuously make excuses for someone's bad behavior. If someone is showering you with affection, then screaming at you or putting you down over small things, that's not love. That's not love at all. It's control and a power grab. It wasn't until years later that I saw an episode of some show featuring a self-absorbed person's husband when I realized that I had been experiencing the same thing. I wish I would have known about those types of twisted behaviors when I was that dumb kid back then. It might have saved me from a very dark period in my life. Oh my gosh.
She seems like she has a good heart. I mean, she's already, well, number one, she didn't know. I mean, there's more information out there like floating around the internet than there used to be, because at least there's an internet now.
Yeah.
But we aren't raised learning this stuff. We have no idea. For her to say she felt bad for him when she was leaving, very soft-hearted, even though I don't feel he deserved the empathy, and her concern for not having other people go through it. I mean, these days, because people are so much more self-educated through the internet than when I started my practice 33 years ago, when we didn't have an internet, some come in amazingly educated, and they're like, yeah, I've had this, and this, I looked it up. Do you think I have X, Y, and Z? It actually makes the process go faster. It's like, you're right on it. And yes, you do. Or he does, or she does. But with that said, there's some excellent books on this. One of the best experts, I think, is a woman named Dr. Romani, who actually, I don't think she takes in private practice clients at the moment because she's one of those high-profile educators at this point. But she lives somewhere here in either Santa Monica or Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's got a couple bestsellers that are great and easy for anyone to find. And she does a lot of podcasting.
Oh, my goodness.
And while she doesn't say it directly, you can kind of tell that she has been through this herself. Yeah. She's not she's, I don't know how old, she's late 50s. She's not a kid. I think she's been through things. And she's terrific. There are support groups. I can't name the specific support groups because most of my clients are not asking that right now. So I haven't Googled it, but she can find community. Yeah. And the other thing that's so hard is while not every is charming, that is a trait that's not necessarily listed in the diagnostic manual, but it's so common. They are able to turn on the charm. Just many of them have a huge ability to be charming. Yeah. And they use that to their advantage and convince everyone else it's her problem.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was so heartbreaking. You mentioned before the different types of attachment that people have with
Yeah. Well, in the sense of, I was looking at it in terms primarily of what their personality struggles could be. So that's not strict attachment theory, but it's something like there are certain personality types that are more likely to connect with, hook up with, stay with narcissists. Not always, but again, often. And the two most common types are borderline personality disorders. They used to refer to that as interlocking pathology, meaning, until it doesn't work, usually for the borderline person, eventually they fit like a lock and key because the BPD person is often very insecure. The narcissist knows how to tap into this and you'll be okay with me. Like I say, I've never seen a narcissist make a good spouse, male or female. Sometimes if you get two together, which happens occasionally, they can get along and have like a mutual admiration society, but unless they're both narcissistic, and it never seems to end well, although some people will stay to the death, but they're not happy usually. The other type, there are 10 personality disorders out there, and one of them that is not as high profile as like narcissism is called dependent personality disorder. And they're not high profile because they don't cause anyone else any harm or any drama. They just cause themselves issues. And so they kind of more quietly drown in the corner. And they're very vulnerable to narcissists because they just, the structure of their personality, which can be healed through therapy, is such that they just don't, even though they have fine abilities, they don't have the confidence in their abilities. And they just do well with a person who says, yeah, you're right. And yeah, do this. They're more likely to, quote, take direction, which the narcissist loves.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We do have 2 questions for you. Maybe a question for Ilene. But do you deal with people having a longing or very emotionally intense / drawing or calling to living somewhere? I've lived and traveled a lot of places, but there was one place I feel the strongest drawn to from the second I stepped foot in that town. Interesting. Is that a thing?
Yeah, and that would include me. There's more to it than just the snow. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. But when I had a old friend out here, I'm still friends with from high school and college, named Jason, and I visited him when I graduated med school. So I was like 25 or so. The plane landed and they didn't have the jetway they usually have for some reason. So we just had to walk down some stairs outside, so to speak. And I took one look around me and thought, this is home. And it took me 8 years to get the courage to move. Wow. Because I am one of those people who like to have a little too much support around me, maybe sometimes, or at least back then. But I did eventually move, obviously. In terms of how to explain it, the only explanation I know goes, well, I tend to be pretty metaphysically, spiritually interested. And, I know a lot of people don't, but a lot of people do believe in things like, let's say, past lives. And sometimes I think that energy is there from an existence they don't quite remember. And to that point, I've had a couple past life regressions as the patient with a couple people who were psychologists, doctors in psychology. And the first one I had, I felt like a different person because your essence is there, but your personality can be different, maybe because you're in different circumstances, whatever. Yeah. And it's interesting. In this life, I was never drawn to have children. It just wasn't something I had a longing for. I loved animals before I could open my mouth to speak, but children weren't in the picture this time for me, I believe. However, in that lifetime, I saw myself as a woman, a Mexican woman, financially comfortable, sitting in a, 1800 something, school teacher. I knew all these things just instantly. She was widowed, but she wasn't, sad. She had a boy and a girl, and they were sitting around a big table with a hearth fireplace, and it was very vivid. Oh, wow. And I could feel her emotions for me in that lifetime. And she was so content and happy. And I'm like, wow. And, subsequently, coincidentally, when I visited California, loved California. And then when I've been married twice with a big gap in between, like once in my youth and once in my middle age with an 18-year gap. But I met my first husband, Ramon, on a trip for vacation in Acapulco. Oh, wow. And ended up, I was married to him for 7 years. And he was, born and raised right out of Mexico. And I don't know that all these things are just coincidence. They could be. And there's a lot of people right now who'd be like, oh, come on, but there's a lot of things we can't explain. And that's the only thing that's ever made sense to me.
That it was from a past life.
A past life, some type of,
Wow.
past connection.
Interesting.
But I know a lot of people don't go with that. But although people are pretty open-minded these days.
People are open-minded.
Don't say you're just crazy.
Yeah. I get that because my family's from like North Carolina, the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And being away from the mountains, I'm like, what am I doing out here? There's desert. What do I do with the desert?
So maybe even this life. But for me, I wasn't, I was born and raised in Philly, didn't have any Hispanic friends, nothing.
Just felt drawn here.
Yeah.
Whitney did respond and says, on the fence with past life. I don't discount things. I don't have proof / answers for that. Haha. But that makes sense too. Thanks for asking, and thanks, Eileen, for answering.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you.
And then we have another question.
Back to what we had with BPD, but to just reiterate it, from Kim Fine. Does Dr. Eileen have thoughts about the theory of quiet borderline personality disorder? I feel like BPD is just so stigmatized.
Yeah, I mean, there are these days more distinctions are being made, and it is stigmatized terribly, which is sad because I work with a lot of BPD. It's one of my subspecialties, and while they're classified under, there's like 3 classifications under personality disorders. It's like they call them axis 1, 2, and 3, or actually ABC. I don't know, however they picked out that name. But borderline is grouped in what they call the dramatic personalities, along with narcissism, histrionic, and antisocial personalities, because on the whole, the reputation is they do kind of cause a lot of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is a quieter type where they just sort of suffer some of the slings and arrows internally, which I'll mention in a second, not necessarily being loud or dramatic. And here's the thing, BPD has gotten a terrible reputation over the years because they can be stormy people, especially with, not all, again, but many, with a partner, a romantic partner. It comes out the most. It can come out in other areas too, like work, but usually it comes out most significantly at home because they kind of have like a bit of a broken emotional thermostat. They have trouble regulate. They want to change the name actually to emotional dysregulatory disorder, because borderline is just, what's borderline? It's a confusing term from the old days where they were still trying to figure it out, especially as far back as Marilyn Monroe is now believed to have been borderline. And that's why she was such a chaotic, gorgeous, talented, but she also had to deal with being borderline personality disorder. They didn't understand it back then. So it's very sad. And, she ended her life early. And these days it's much better understood, but because the people who have had, and which is human nature, a bad experience with, let's say, a romantic partner, it's usually who's borderline, they're the ones that get online and go, oh my God, my ex, let's say, girlfriend had borderline personality disorder, just they're poison, stay away from them. That, first of all, that's, a lot of times that's not true, but you know how it's the negative attention that gets the most attention.
Yeah.
What I like about, working with people with BPD is, unlike narcissism, who have this like 1 foot thick cement wall where you just can't penetrate defenses and get anywhere because they can't be seen as less than perfect. So they're like, you're wrong. I know better than you. I'm out of here. For the most part, people with BPD really want to get better.
Yeah.
Then they don't really know kind of how. And even within the therapy field, I don't know exactly how many of them are saying it these days, but when I graduated, from my training, there were professors saying, well, if you get a borderline person, make sure you don't get more than 1 or 2. They're a lot to handle. They could emotionally hurt you. They could sue you. They could be litigious, all this. And then that wasn't my experience. And now I have like a good third of my clients have BPD.
Oh, wow.
And they've been wonderful.
Yeah.
And
you're helping them through that.
Yeah. And they can heal from this.
Yeah.
But it does usually take some therapy for that.
Wow. That's extraordinary that you're able to meet them where they are.
I'm very happy about that. In my own family, I mean, I didn't know growing up, but I think my mom, who was the parent I clashed more with, had a combination, and that's common too, of narcissistic and borderline personality traits. And I think it got me, frankly, interested in the field once I realized what was going on. And it just grew from there. But the trouble is that the statistics I've seen in recent times is that 1 out of 3 people with borderline personality disorder also have narcissistic tendencies, traits, or disorder. If the narcissism is in the mix, it unfortunately, forgive the expression, trumps the borderline personality disorder, and those aren't the people who generally come for help. However, that 2/3 do not.
Oh my gosh.
And they need the help. I mean, that's a good thing because they come in and like, I don't know what the heck it is, but, help me. And some of them who have been to therapy before, and this is something that really personally bothers me, were not told that that's what they had. And then the therapy didn't work. When I've looked into why they weren't told, I got theories like from other therapists, like, well, I don't like to label people. And I don't like to, one of my very best client, who was a real success. She was actually the Filipino woman who would bring me the bread, the zucchini bread and stuff.
Of course.
She would be angry because she's coming to me at 45 going, well, why the F didn't anyone tell me?
Yeah.
And I don't have a good answer for that because I think it's wrong. It's like if you were feeling like really generally lousy, you wouldn't want your doctor to say, I know what you have, Riley, but I don't want to tell you if it's COVID or bronchitis. Of course we should know what we have.
What am I here for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet there's still that school of thought, and it really bothers me because I've seen it do damage. But
I'm glad you're able to shoot straight with them and tell them, this is what's happening.
They deserve to know.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Now, where can people find you? Do you have a website?
Oh, yes, I do. I have a website at drilene.com. It's just all lowercase, no period, DRILENE.com. And that's the easiest place to find me. I'm also, a lot of people find me through Yelp. I'm on there too, under Dr. Ilene Krems, which is kind of.
You got Snapchat, Instagram, anything like that?
Not yet.
TikTok?
I don't have those. But so right now I'm just, as I'm thinking of it, my website and Yelp is where most people find me.
Awesome.
But who knows, maybe with time.
Yeah. We'll get your TikTok account. This will be the best thing to do is like cut this up and post videos like this on TikTok.
Interesting. No, I'd love to do it. It's intriguing to me. I might need a little tech support, but outside of that.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And thank you too. I really appreciate it.
So guys, if you love us, make sure to subscribe. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yo, don't leave yet. Please don't exit out of this video. We have more stories for you, and I know you got more stuff to do, so hang around.
My partner's friend made me wear a wig for their wedding. It made me miserable. Do you wear wigs? My partner, Joe, 24 male, and I, 24 female, have been together for 8 years and married for just under a month.
Whoa.
Yay! Jay's best friend, Seth, 23 male, and I have known each other since before Joe and I met. By the way, this comes from Remarkably Proper, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, about a year and a half after Joe and I started dating, Seth started seeing Mia, 23 female, and the double dates commenced. I've never been a huge fan of Mia since she's the type of person to eat 3/4 of her meal at a restaurant, then complain to the waitstaff until they comp the meal, among other things. In the summer of 2021, Seth bought a house for himself and Mia that needed a lot of work due to prior flooding. My partner and I went out there, and Joe and Seth did some work on the plumbing and subfloor. A few other times, Joe went out there to help with other stuff, and by the end of 2021, Seth had the place renovated into a pretty nice house. He and Mia invited us and some of our friends from the friend group out there for a New Year's party. They have a pretty nice detached garage pole barn situation. So they got it set up with adult soda pong and speakers and stuff, meaning people were going back and forth from the pole barn to the house. At one point, it was just Seth and I in the house mixing drinks, and he confided in me that he wasn't entirely happy in his relationship. He talked about how Mia called him names, laughed at him, yelled at him, etc., and asked what he should do. I said what my partner would have said: we have a spare bedroom if you need it. Every time we went out to Seth and Mia's house, Seth would find a way to confide these things in me. They gradually grew worse, too. She threw stuff at him, slammed doors so hard they break off their hinges, stuff like that. Every time I'd remind him we had a spare bedroom, but I couldn't outright tell him to leave her. It didn't feel like my place to make that call. Don't get me wrong, I definitely told him he deserved better, but I wanted him to connect the dots for himself.
That's fair.
In October 2022, While at a Halloween party, Seth showed me a picture of the engagement ring he'd gotten. I don't remember much of the conversation beyond him asking if his proposal plans sounded good. I told him yes, I congratulated him, I did all the things I thought a friend should do. A month later, there are beautiful photos all over Facebook announcing the engagement and announcing that the wedding date was set for October 2023. In February 2023, Mia asked me to stand as a bridesmaid in her wedding, and I genuinely was shocked. We didn't talk much, even at their house parties. My partner, of course, was asked to be the best man, and he instantly accepted. I didn't know what to say. They'd asked us in front of the rest of the wedding party, and I hadn't been expecting it at all, so I accepted too. It made me nervous thinking about it, but if that's what they wanted, then I was gonna do my dangdest to make this wedding work for them. Despite everything Seth had told me, it wasn't my place to cause a scene about it. In March, Mia asked me to make sure my hair was a normal color for the wedding. It's worth mentioning that at the time, my hair was a light lavenderish color, and I'm no stranger to impulsively dyeing my hair a vibrant color. I told her I'd of course make sure it was a normal color, but she'd have to tell me what color. In honesty, because my hair is always a different color, the request didn't bother me much beyond lamenting having to grow out whatever color she told me to go with. Crap really started to hit the fan in August on the bachelorette weekend trip. The drive up was about 2 hours. And Mia spent most of it telling us about the latest wedding drama, that her parents had decided to take all of the money they'd been setting aside for a wedding venue and use it to refurbish their pole barn. Not the pole barn again.
Not the pole barn.
Mia's parents were demanding that Mia and Seth work long hours pouring concrete, putting up walls, and retiling roofs, so the wedding could be held there. Mia talked about how their mother had been especially rude and condescending about the whole thing, calling her an ungrateful witch when Mia talked about wanting the wedding to be somewhere else. I felt so bad for her, and I felt even worse when Mia's mother, along with 8 of her friends, crashed the bachelorette weekend. We were outnumbered in this Airbnb to the point that I had to sleep on the floor.
Oh boy.
There were 9 women, all 50 or older, impeding on Mia's bachelorette weekend. Wasted the entire weekend, throwing up on the lake of the paddle boat they crammed all 9 of themselves onto kind of way. Mia had been looking forward to one of those lazy river situations where you rent a bunch of inner tubes and coast down a river and all that.
Fun.
The morning of, though, these women decided it should be put to a vote whether they went. No doubt because some of them were still wasted and some were hungover. And the overall consensus was to skip the tubing that all the bridesmaids had already paid for and instead hang out at the Airbnb.
Dang.
That's so messed up. I mean, Mia seems like she's maybe not a good person, but this is her.
This is your money that you already spent.
I grabbed a few pre-rolls from my luggage, took Mia by the arm, and sat out on the porch with her. We shot the crap about everything, not just the awful turnout of the batch party, but everything else. I felt like we really connected out there, talking about our partners and their friendship and what it would have been like when we had kids and they'd have an extra uncle and aunt. For a long time, I thought Seth and Mia would be the godparents to my husband and my kids. A month before the wedding, Mia called an emergency bridal party meeting at their house. Per usual, my partner and I were the first ones there. Once the rest of the bridal party got there, minus Seth's little sister, she was left out of the bachelorette party too. We talked about the schedule of the day and how the bridal party would make entrances to the venue. At one point, Mia, who was quite wasted by then, pulled me aside and reminded me about the hair color. My hair at the time was split dyed red and pink. I asked her what color she wanted me to go with, and she said, "Copper would look so good on you." About a week and a half before the wedding, I went out and got a brownish copper hair dye and did the job. Since I colored my hair pretty frequently, it wasn't the healthiest, and I tried my best to do hair masks and stuff to make sure it wasn't too brittle for styling on the day of the wedding. Then, a week before the wedding, my partner proposed to me. I, of course, posted pictures all over Facebook, and my hair in the pictures was copper. The Tuesday before the wedding, Mia texted me and asked if the color of my hair in those photos was how it would be for her wedding day. I said yes, and reminded her that I'd asked her what color to do, and she had told me copper. She denied ever telling me that, and that she would never have suggested copper, since my dress was cinnamon colored. She told me to send her a picture of myself wearing the dress so she could see if the colors clashed too badly. Before I could even send a photo of myself in the dress, she told me to just dye my hair an actual normal color.
Girl, are you going to pay for it?
OP's already said that her hair, is pretty unhealthy right now, so that probably wouldn't be great.
Like,
probably look worse
copper,
if she tried to dye it again
yeah,
so quickly.
And copper is like That is an actual
That's a
normal
natural color.
So, and also, like, no, I would not do that again. Like, it's already
No.
so big that OP would do that in the first place to her. Like, that's very nice of her to do.
Yeah.
Because that's expensive, too.
Yeah.
Especially, like, if she's going to want to go back to, you know, pink or purple or pink or red, you know, like, depending on how dark it is, that will be so hard to come back from. So it's like, girl, no, I'm not going to change my hair color for you again for your wedding for one day. No. This turned into a massive back and forth of me telling her that I didn't have the money or time to go and get my hair redone. And I was afraid if I dyed my hair again so soon, it'd break off and be even more awful. I offered to step out of frame for her pictures. I offered to have my hair up so it wasn't touching the dress. I offered to suggest her photographer that they color correct my hair. Her mind was made up, though. She told me she'd have me wear a wig for the entire day. I told her I certainly couldn't afford a high-quality wig, and she told me she'd pay for it. The entire bridal party had gotten a text from Seth and Mia requesting all of us be at the venue about an hour and 45-minute drive at noon the Friday before the wedding to help do final touches before the rehearsal dinner at 5. Of the entire bridal party, my partner and I were the only ones who showed up at noon. Everyone else didn't show up until 5 or later. We went up to Seth to greet him, and the first thing he said to us, "Is it too late to call it off?" The wedding?
Dude, I don't like Seth either. Dude, you're telling your friends this whole time that you freaking hate this woman and don't want to be in a relationship with her.
Yeah.
And then say, is it too, like, call it off.
Just call it off. It's never too late because now then you're going to be stuck.
You're going to be, like, literally leave her.
You're going to be, like, having a kid and you're going to be like, is it too late to get a divorce? It's like,
leave
no,
her.
Just get
leave
out
her
of there.
now. You should have left her earlier. You should leave her now. She's clearly unhealthy. You do not want to be in a relationship with this person.
Exactly.
Wrestling Mama says he's afraid. Yeah, of course. Like this, maybe there are a lot of different reasons why he might be, you know, not able to or feel like he's not able to leave this relationship. But like, you are able to leave this relationship.
Yeah, just please.
Leave it. Leave it. And in proper supportive fashion, we told him no, reminded him of our spare bedroom. I'd had a nightmare the night before of the maid of honor attacking me when she saw my hair. So when she finally showed up around 5:30 and came right up to me, I nearly pissed myself. She held out her hand and pointed to her ring finger. It dawned on me that I had indeed gotten engaged a few days prior. Easy to forget, given all the other stuff going on. And I held out my hand so she could see the ring. She gushed about how beautiful it was, and she told me she needed to talk to me after the rehearsal. Fair enough. I confided in her when we stepped outside that I was terrified she wanted to beat me up, and she told me the whole story of the texts. How she had told Mia not to send them and to let her handle it. How her work friends had read all the screenshots Mia sent and thought she was taking things way too far. We talked for a long time, and at the end of it, she said she'd check with Mia on where the wig situation stood. Before the end of the night, she pulled me aside again and confirmed that Mia wanted me to wear the wig the entire night and that she wouldn't settle for an updo or anything of the sort. The maid of honor then invited me to spend the night with the rest of the bridesmaids at Mia's house, which I politely declined. I was expected at a salon about an hour from my house the next morning at 8 a.m., and I arrived at 7:45 just to be safe. The rest of the bridesmaids, along with the bride, all showed up shortly thereafter. The salon is owned by one of M's mom's cousins, who also happened to be at the bachelorette weekend. She was one of the dumb butts puking off the side of the paddle boat. She got me in a chair before I even set my bag down, and by 8 a.m., I had the most hideous wig slapped on my head.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes. She didn't even style it, didn't even bobby pin it down. It took 10 minutes max. The other bridesmaids got their hair styled in super cute curls and waterfall braids, and I sat there with an unstyled, unflattering wig on my head that wasn't even properly covering my hairline.
Oh my gosh. Mia doesn't have any experience with wigs.
We got our makeup done at the salon too by a different lady. When I sat down in the chair, she asked me if I was okay because nobody was speaking to me. I asked her if the makeup was waterproof or anything, and she told me to just try my best not to cry. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. She ended up doing my makeup pretty quickly too. And in all, I spent maybe half an hour in a salon chair. The other bridesmaids had way more time for hair and makeup, and between the way the wig looked and the fact that none of them would even look at me, I excused myself to go out to my car. I have never cried the way I did in that car.
Aww.
I called Joe, who was riding with the groomsmen I was going to walk down the aisle with. I tipped my head down so the tears wouldn't leave tracks in my foundation.
Oh my gosh.
I cried that I wanted to go home and that I couldn't keep doing this. I told them how I felt like I was back in middle school and high school being bullied, all because I did what the bride told me to do. I dyed my hair the color she told me to dye it. He reminded that I wasn't standing in the wedding for Mia, but for Seth, who doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, this poor man. Mia is just, she's got her claws in everyone, just controlling everyone.
Leave her.
Yes.
But the problem is now we're at the wedding day, and now he's going to be the guy that left the girl at the altar if he does that.
Well, good.
She sucks.
Still, yeah, definitely would suck. But
Not
like,
great optics, though, for him.
Right.
Because everyone's going to be like, wow, you left a woman at the altar, which
but
sucks.
it's like, well, I needed to.
But you show him,
guys.
any girl he would date, you just show him the story and they'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Show him this podcast.
See how crazy she was?
I told him I couldn't even do it for Seth because Seth knew about the situation. Joe hadn't talked to him about it and wasn't willing to stand up for me. Which I'm not saying I expected him to stand up to his soon-to-be wife for another woman, but it doesn't change the fact that I couldn't handle the pressure and the bullying. Joe told me that I should do it for him and that after this, we'd figure it out. After the ceremony, Al, the groomsman I had walked with, caught me crying. We were all supposed to be taking photos, and I couldn't stop thinking about how these people were supposed to be the godparents to our future children.
Aww.
And they couldn't even stand to have me in the photos without a wig on my head. And went into the house and came out with one of those little pocket-sized shooters of Pink Whitney for me.
Nice.
After dinner, I slipped out to go to the bathroom, i.e. cry a bit more and call my mom. My mom told me to take the wig off and get a ride home, and that it wasn't worth it. I told her Mia was making me keep it on the entire night. Before she could really convince me to get the heck out of there, Joe tracked me down. He didn't know what to say. He just held me for a while, then told me I had to come back because they were starting speeches. Joe sucks too. I'm gonna say it. Joe sucks.
Yeah.
I understand he wants to be there for his friend, but his friend doesn't want to be there. Your girlfriend doesn't want to be there. She's been bullied into wearing a stupid wig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shortly after the dancing really got going and the sun had fully set, Al started asking me if it hurt if he yanked the wig off. I told him they hadn't even bothered to pin the dang thing up.
Oh my gosh.
I told him not to because I didn't want to face the wrath of Mia. He asked me if I would rather spend the rest of the night miserable, and I shrugged a shoulder and told him to do whatever he wanted. He yanked the wig off and tossed it on one of the empty tables, then told me, if Seth or Mia have a crap to say, you tell them to come say it to me. Al is way better than your boyfriend.
Hey, we love Al. Good job,
Al. Al's the only person in the story besides OP who's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone else kind of sucks.
Like, I think she knows that obviously Mia is like a terrible friend now, but if you don't want to take off a wig because you're scared of what your friend is going to say, then like that is not someone that you should be near at all in any capacity.
Nope. And people who are telling you that you have to be near them, not cool. Few of the wedding guests even came up to me and said that my hair, despite being braided tightly to my head for the wig to lay on top, looked much better like this.
Aww.
In the days following the wedding, Mia started sharing photos to Facebook, but none of them had me in them. I couldn't tell if I was more relieved to not have to see the palpable misery on my face, or furious that she had me put on a wig just to exclude my face from all the posts anyway. I fell into this horrible despair. I thought I'd be relieved to be done, but instead I was left with this gaping feeling. My partner and I had just stood for his best friend and my close friend on the most important day of his life, and we had nothing to show for it. There would be no showing our kids photos from Aunt Mia and Uncle Seth's wedding day because that wasn't me in the photos, and even if it was, they didn't bother to send us any photos from the day at any point. 2 weeks after Seth and Mia's wedding, we were hosting a Halloween party. Partly as a gift to the newlyweds, and partly because they usually hosted Halloween and we wanted to give them a break. They said they would come, but the night before the party, they canceled on us. As frustrated as I was to be throwing this party for them, only for them to cancel, I can't say I wasn't a little relieved. I didn't know how to talk to either of them after that day, and I didn't want to be forced to figure it out quite yet. The beginning of November, a month and a half after the wedding day, Joe sent Seth and Mia a message in a group chat without me in it. The message reiterated that they are always welcome at our house. We were hosting a Friendsgiving at that end of November and had extended the invitation to them, but that we were both incredibly hurt by what went down with the wedding. Joe requested an apology for the hurt I was put through. especially after Mia told me to dye my hair copper, then tried to tell me she never would have said that. Mia responded that I was just mad because I didn't get what I wanted, that we were asinine if we thought she'd see my ugly butt hair and do anything other than throw a wig on my head.
Oh my God.
That she wouldn't apologize for something she's not sorry for.
Girl, get me on the phone with this Mia. Give me her address. I'm going to pull up. Give her some words. Oh my goodness gracious.
The following day, Seth called Joe to apologize. Apparently, he told Mia not to send the message. He told Joe that he thought I owed Mia an apology for taking the wig off. During the phone call, Seth said something along the lines of being done with the friend group, that he only wanted to hang out with Joe over all of it. The friend group, who already didn't have the best impression of Mia even before all the crap went down, was unanimously fine with that decision. The day after Seth and Joe's call, Mia sent me a one-on-one message, a novel, about how she would have dyed her hair whatever color I wanted for my wedding, because there are temporary colors and it fade eventually. She also accused me of not knowing her well enough to be saying what I was about her mother back during the bachelorette trip, that I was being stuck up, and so on and so forth. I typed up a similar length response, and I'm proud to say I kept it civil. I reminded her that I did dye my hair the exact color she wanted, that I just refused to do it a second time in fear of frying my hair or making it look worse. I apologized for what I'd said about her mother, but I also told her that if I didn't know her well enough to talk honestly with her about something that was deeply troubling her, I never should have been standing in the wedding in the first place. Great point. I told her that if I was stuck up, I would have taken myself home instead of still standing in the wedding party, despite everything she put me through. It took 2 days for Mia to respond, and she replied with, "After processing, I feel like I owe you an apology." What? Girl.
But that was it?
Yeah.
I read ahead a little bit.
I feel like I owe... Okay. End of message.
I feel like I owe you an apology. And then
didn't
proceeds
actually
to
give
not apologize.
apology.
Yeah, what? This girl, man. This girl.
End of message. We expected to see them at Friendsgiving and try to smooth things over in person, but Seth texted Joe a literal hour before they were supposed to arrive and said that Mia wanted to go look at Christmas lights in a city almost 2 hours away. Joe was faced with the impossible decision as we grew closer to planning our own wedding of whether Seth could be his best man. Ultimately, Seth made the decision for him by blocking me on Facebook and removing me from his contacts on everything. For a long time, that was it. Seth and Mia were strangers to us. We didn't even invite them to our wedding. Oof. The reason I hashed this all out now, though, is that I'm left with an impossible situation and I need help. In March of this year, about 2 months before Joe and my wedding, Seth called Joe while Joe was at work and asked what had happened to them. Joe asked if he was joking, and when he realized Seth wasn't, he laid it all out. The wig, the non-apology, the name-calling, all of it. Apparently, Seth and Mia don't have anyone to hang out with anymore. Wonder why. Mostly due to the way they treated me. Seth must have taken notes during this phone call or something, because a day or so later, Seth sent a long apology to Joe for me. Apparently, Mia had written that apology that I needed over a year and a half ago, gave it to Seth, and Seth gave it to Joe. Joe had been looking for the right time to tell me about it.
For a year and a half?
Joe, again, I don't like Joe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with
She
this
sent an
Joe.
apology. I mean, yeah, you don't have to accept it, but the fact that he hid it for a year?
Yeah.
He said it sounds sort of legit, but he also admitted that it sounds like Seth had written it himself. All of this with the intention of Seth and Joe hanging out together, which, let me be clear, I never prevented. I encouraged Joe to keep up with Seth. I just didn't want anything to do with him. The moment Mia had that wig put on my head, it's like she and Seth became strangers to me. So that's why I'm here. I haven't read the apology, and my partner said he wouldn't blame me if I never wanted to read it. Even typing this all out is reminding me the kind of emotional turmoil they put me through over this. What's the play? Do I read the apology? It sounds like Seth and Mia want to go back to double dating and house parties like before. Is that a possibility? I genuinely don't think I could ever look either one of them in the eye again, but do I owe it to them and to my partner to try? And there is an update.
Oh gosh.
It seems like the apology was it doesn't seem like he hid it for a year and a half. It seems like they sent it a year and a half later. I think I misunderstood that.
Okay.
I told my husband I'm not going to read the letter. The apology is a year and a half late, And as far as I'm concerned, it's a load of BS intended to get back to being friends with him. If they truly cared about me in this situation, they'd never have called me crazy. They'd have apologized the minute I expressed how hurt I was. They wouldn't have done what they did in the first place. Joe is a huge believer in giving people room to grow and learn from mistakes, which is why he told me about the letter in the first place and not just burned it himself. After our talk, he realizes what kind of damage it would do to me to let Seth and Mia back into our lives, even if they have grown and changed. I don't need to be their human empathy test subject. I truly hope they've become better people, but given they're reaching back out because nobody else will be friends with them, I doubt they have. As for the comments, I had a lot of people asserting that the outcome of this is entirely my fault, and that I let myself be walked over, so I deserved everything that came to me. Well, I don't entirely disagree. I do think that even in my long post, there's a lot of context missing. To start, Joe and Seth have been best friends for over 10 years at this point. If I caused a scene at Seth's wedding, even warranted, I feared what it would do to their friendship. The friendship basically ended either way thanks to Seth's wife, but I digress. I wore the wig because I didn't want to rock the boat. I was young and naive and didn't actually think Mia would make me wear a wig until the morning of, when they were slapping a wig on my head and shooing me out of the salon chair. I'd heard from Mia firsthand how much stress she was under due to the wedding and her insane mother, and I thought being a sounding board for her and being there for her would have made her have a change of heart. Instead, I became the target. She couldn't very well bully her mother, so she bullied me instead. There were also a lot of people calling me out about Seth pulling me aside and telling me how unhappy he was. And again, I think you're missing key context. I didn't just tell him we have a spare bedroom for you and leave it at that. I talked at length with him about these things. I told him that he deserved better, that he could come stay with us for as long as he needed to figure things out, that no matter how deep the hole he dug himself felt, we were there to get him out of it. He had a house and pets with Mia. He worked with Mia's dad. She had successfully made herself a part of every piece of his life. And in our conversations, I told Seth that Joe and I could help him detach however he needed. I even told him he was being mistreated, especially when it came to things being thrown and doors being slammed. Yeah. But Seth is of the mindset that men could never be the victims of domestic violence, which is not true, Seth. Is not true. I wonder if that mindset has changed by now. I mean, yeah, it seems like he's living in that world of like, oh, well, I can't be a so I have to stay with her.
Yeah, so like this is just me being too sensitive or something.
Which is not true,
So
Seth.
not true.
Please, leave her. Point is, I said everything but outright telling him to leave Mia. Maybe that's what the comments were getting at, is that I should have spelled it out like that. The day before the wedding, Seth asked if it was too late, and Joe and I told him no. We told him he could get in the car and we could drive away with no questions asked. Seth is a grown adult too. He chose what he did. By the way, you can choose to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Oof.
Poor Seth.
Yeah.
Poor
I mean, it really
Seth.
sucks because Seth is in a really bad situation and
Yeah.
cannot see it. And you can't force him
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, that does have to be something that he has to choose on his own.
Yeah.
So I feel like OP was going about that in the right way. You
Yeah.
know, she's like, we'll be here for you. We'll support you. If you do want to leave, won't ask any questions. We'll just get out of here.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, he has to make that decision for himself again.
Yeah.
So.
You guys tried.
Yeah.
But you don't deserve for Seth or Mia to mistreat you. So, yeah. There's a little bit more to the story. Lots of people were coming after my husband as well, and I can't lie. Seth and Mia's wedding definitely did some damage to our relationship. I left that situation feeling like no matter how many times Joe told me I was the most important person in his life, there would always be something or someone that could get in the way of that. Things were rocky for a bit. He was apologetic the moment the wedding was over, wishing he'd taken the wig off my head, or gone to the salon and picked me up and taken me home. Hindsight is 20/20, I guess. If either of us had known that no matter what, Seth and Mia were going to completely isolate themselves, I wouldn't have worried so much about preserving Joe and Seth's friendship, and neither would he. At the end of it, though, Joe and I had talked it through. We knew where our priorities lie. The only reason he'd been advocating for me to read the apology letter was for my own peace of mind and my own closure. He respects my decision to leave the note unread and leave Seth and Mia to be unhappily ever after. And folks, that is the end of that story. My friend demands I wear body paint for her wedding because my skin disgusts them. Well, your friend disgusts me. My friend has just gotten engaged and has asked me to be her maid of honor. I am beyond thrilled for her and beyond touched that she has asked me, but it's on the condition that I wear body makeup over my psoriasis. I can't do that because not only is it impractical, any makeup that will actually cover it will exacerbate the condition and make life miserable for me. By the way, this comes from a whole bag of cheese. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, to be clear, I have it well controlled. I'm not flaky. The skin is simply very red. It covers 80% of one forearm, 20% on the other, both elbows, and I have large patches on my calves, knees, and 90% of the top of one foot. I use gentle manual exfoliation and moisturizer that helps control the dry and excess skin. I apply the moisturizer a couple of times a day and wouldn't be able to do this while wearing makeup. I let her know that I wouldn't be able to do that, explained why, and even though she knows that I have to be careful with all the products that I use, and she's quite unhappy with me. She wants beautiful photographs that make everyone feel beautiful and confident, which really upset me.
Yeah, and telling your friend that she needs to wear makeup to look beautiful and confident, you're not really doing a good job in making her feel beautiful and or confident.
Exactly. I am content and confident in my skin, and I know it's there and people stare sometimes, but what can I do about that? Most people think that I have some kind of gnarly motorbike accident or something, TBH. I'm at a point in my life where I honestly don't care and often forget that it's unusual to see. I know the reason is because she doesn't want to see it in her photos, and I said as much to her and she was offended. I suggested that I wear something with long sleeves and a skirt, but she already has her heart set on midi-length strapless dresses, and a shawl covering it won't go. It got to the point where she was getting heated because I won't do it and told me that I either wore the body makeup or don't bother even coming. I ended up telling her that either she has me as is or not at all and left. She is now not speaking to me, but has told her fiance that I accepted the role. Some of OP's comments. Commenter says, info, why are you friends with this person? OP says, I've known her forever and we have had a really great relationship usually, and this hasn't ever been a problem before. When we have had little disagreements, we've both been really understanding about it, and those have been few and far between. I really don't understand this. It's so out of character for her. To another commenter, because she's usually a really kind and caring, empathetic person, genuinely too, we've been through a lot together and have supported each other through some really messed up times. She's good fun, funny without making fun of people. She's just a good egg. Any disagreements or issues we've had have always been talked through with care and consideration on both sides, and it's never felt unbalanced. This is truly really out of character for her. Another commenter says, not the a-hole. Psoriasis can be so painful and debilitating during a flare-up, and I'm assuming that since you were asked to be the maid of honor, she has known you and about your psoriasis and the psoriasis control routine. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your skin's health for days or weeks after the wedding just to be there. You have given her alternate options to help conceal your reddened skin for photos, and she's not even considering them or your feelings or health. OP says, that's exactly it. It's taken so long to find a good combination of things that work and keep it stable, and she's seen me at my absolute worst with it and never said or done anything other than be supportive about it. I really don't want to miss her wedding, but I can't physically or mentally deal with how bad it's been before. Commenter says, you're definitely not the a-hole. As someone who also suffers from psoriasis, I'd like to suggest seeing a medical professional because manual exfoliation and applying moisturizer multiple times a day, which I know from personal experience is helpful. I also know from personal experience that there are so many prescription topicals or not topicals that treat psoriasis far better. A small amount of topical steroid, acetonide. It is a topical steroid that applied a few times a week keeps my psoriasis in check. It really doesn't sound like yours is well managed. But for this particular issue, I'd stick with, I can't commit to wearing makeup to cover up my skin, so if my skin is enough of a problem for you to exclude me from your wedding party, then so be it. OP says, thank you for your concern. A few comments have made me realize that I probably need a new dermatologist and a new approach. I've tried a few different steroid-based creams and ointments, but after time, my skin would become quite thin and it would stay pink even still. I couldn't play rough with my dog because she'd break the skin even playing gently, and I'm also really clumsy and would knock my elbows on doors and walls and the skin would split. I have just been resigned to the redness and my current routine has been working. My current dermatologist basically said that my condition isn't serious enough for some meds and that others I can't use due to liver issues. OP is just essentially voted not the a-hole. We have an update, but do we agree?
with the commenters.
Obviously not the a-hole.
Yeah.
I think that if your friend is more concerned about optics over your health,
Yeah.
regardless of like if that's, internal or external health,
Yeah.
then she's not really your friend.
Yeah.
I just think in general, you cannot tell someone to wear, unless you're in a play or in a film, you can't tell someone
Right.
that they need to wear makeup.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just ever, even if this woman didn't have psoriasis.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah, it's so silly. It's like, I keep thinking, a solution to covering it up would probably be like pantyhose or like tights or sleeves or something like that. But again, I agree with you. It's like, you shouldn't even need to cover it up. Like if
this is you, this is what you look like.
Yeah, if you're a real friend, then you would be supporting your friend through this and empowering them. But this is clearly the opposite.
It's like if someone has like a lot of acne and you're like, oh, you have to actually cover all of that up. It's
Yeah,
like that is their skin.
can you just like do this to be more beautiful for my things? It's like, huh? You don't think I'm beautiful?
Yeah.
I know I am. So that's your problem. We do have an update. So firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented. I honestly thought the majority would tell me to suck it up. It's just a few hours for one day. And was surprised by all the supportive comments, compromise, suggestions and encouragement to seek further treatment for the sake of my health, not my appearance. I'm definitely going to take my psoriasis more seriously due to some of you, so thank you. Also, sorry to the mods, they had to lock comments because too many people were being rude. I also want to mention all the Photoshop and editing comments. I feel stupid for not even considering it in the moment. It's such a simple and obvious solution. I was so shocked and taken aback by my friend's reaction and insistence, and it didn't even cross my mind. I spent the night bawling my eyes out because a lot of the comments made me feel like I wasted nearly 30 years of friendship with this person. Doubt a lot of it. I love her still and was still so confused.
There's no such thing as wasting years on friendship.
Yeah.
It just sometimes you grow out of a friendship.
Yeah.
Or they grow out of you,
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to call my friend tonight to discuss this again. I was truly touched that she asked me to be maid of honor. She has such a close relationship with her sister that I never thought even once that she would ask me. I didn't end up calling my friend, as her fiance called me to thank me for accepting the role, to tell me secretly that his family wanted to pay for the bridal shower, hens night, and anything else that we wanted to do or go, as he knows the people that the friend wanted as other bridesmaids weren't in a position to be able to contribute, and that he and his family would reimburse me any costs for body makeup, which did flag as odd to me. I told him that I hadn't accepted the role and that the friend had told me earlier that I wear the makeup or don't come at all. And fiance was shocked and confused. I explained to him that even mild inflammation would cause days and weeks of irritation at best, or months of pain and cracked skin and possible infections at worst. He had no idea and was completely oblivious and very confused. He's only really known me while my condition has been pretty decently controlled, and I tend to play it off as not so serious to people because I just don't want to talk about it. We finished our phone call, and after a couple of hours, my friend called me back. I can tell that she's been crying and was quite upset. She apologized profusely, and it turns out that her future mother and sister-in-law had been picking away at her, making her feel awful about herself and how she needs to be perfect, presentable, and beautiful on the day, that nothing can distract from her. They both had convinced her that she is especially kind in not worrying or caring about how I looked, but that everyone else is just lying to me and her about not caring. It's been going on for months, even before they knew of the engagement. Little digs about me trying to turn my friend against me. Oh gosh. Both mother-in-law and sister-in-law are apparently disgusted by my psoriasis to the point that it makes them physically ill, and that her entire wedding day will revolve around how I look and will make everyone miserable. Holy crap. These are terrible people.
Suck.
Wow.
Yikes.
That it's all anyone would speak about, and if I came, no guest would be able to eat or enjoy themselves.
She's not Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
She's a person with red skin.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be more understanding about something that she can't control.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
That I was selfish for even considering going without hiding it. They didn't want me there at all and were threatening my friend with not allowing the wedding at all. It was never about the photographs. It was about my condition being visible in general. And you know what you should do in general is go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Because you're going to find more full episodes of stories just like this one. Get on over there. Get on over there. And there's a little bit more to the story, but oh my gosh, do these women stink.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. Faith Reacts says that's just BS. I have a skin condition called eczema and it sucks. Water and soap dries out my skin and I used to have claw marks on my arms because it itched too much. that sucks, dude.
Not fun.
And that's the kind of thing too where it's like it just doesn't go away. Like you can treat it, but it's never gonna just heal completely. So yeah, it absolutely sucks. I think most people would be a lot more understanding of it.
You would think,
and these people just must have very unhappy and insecure lives themselves.
Absolutely. So like self-absorbed and, you know.
Yeah. Shallow.
Shallow is the word I was looking for, yes.
And there is a little bit more to the story, so let's jump right in. I didn't really know what to say or do. It was a lot to process, and I do truly believe my friend is sorry. Like I said, this was so out of character for her. My friend's fiance got on the phone once she'd finished explaining. He is going to speak to his family. He apparently had no idea that this was happening and is pissed for my friend and on my behalf. I don't know what's happening with the wedding or wedding party, but my friend has said that she can't imagine her day without me there and that she feels awful that she allowed them to manipulate her that way. I don't know how I feel yet. I have emotional whiplash. I'm hurt and confused that my friend let them convince her to go through with this, but I do think and hope that we can get through this. OP adds a comment on her reposted story to a different subreddit. Oh, hey, that's me. I just edited an update into the original post. Still hurt by my friend's choices, but ultimately understand where she's coming from and believe her apology wholeheartedly. The positive to come out of this situation is that I'm going to take my psoriasis a lot more seriously and will be finding a rheumatologist and a new dermatologist since mine apparently sucks real bad. And that's the end of that story. I believe that friendship could be
I think it could, if she's
fixed.
truly serious, you know, and like genuinely apologizes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that it can work. It's good that she realized, it's good that she's apologizing, and hopefully they can figure it out. And hopefully they have a beautiful, beautiful wedding with this beautiful, beautiful bridesmaid.